Hey guys, Matt here with another JaYoe conversation. I'm walking along West Lake here in Hangzhou. It is a beautiful day, like really, really pretty. And it's Monday. Hello. Let me get through this group of people. All right, today's topic is going to be, has China erased its culture? This is an interesting one that has a bit more nuance. I think topics have more nuance than we give them credit for. And sometimes as YouTubers we are guilty of broad stroke labeling things, you know, saying this is the best place in China, or this is the best thing, or this is the worst thing, or this happens in China, or this doesn't ever happen in China. And sometimes if we label things as definites, then we sort of miss the nuance. There's a lot of nuance in issues. As a matter of fact, I just published a video called China Screwed America or something like that. And that video has been very, very popular, if you've seen it. And somebody gave me, a friend of mine actually sent me a message where he said, Matt, that was a very, very non-nuanced video. He's like, I can't believe that you would even make a video like that, basically. And it got me thinking, like, wow, am I painting too broad a stroke on a topic? I don't want to do that. But this topic in particular, there was some people recently they were talking about the culture in China, and they claimed that the history of China has been erased and it's gone. And if you go to China, you won't see the cultural element of old China represented in the China of today. There was a lot of history involved in that. There was a lot of periods of time where some of the old intellectuals and the literature and things of old China was sort of erased to a large extent. And I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I'm also saying that it's not like it was completely erased. And you can find a lot of old cultural China in the China of today, especially with regards to temples and historic villages and people remembering the past and embracing the past. As a matter of fact, I can walk around and see people dressing up in the old garb. There's an attachment to the history of China that I think is still vibrant and still strong. I've cycled all through China. I've cycled through Taiwan. I've cycled through Japan, Korea. I've been all the way to Xinjiang. I've been down to Lijiang, and I've been all the way up to Beijing and many, many places in between. I've lived in China for 10 years. I have seen a lot of things that can be dubbed old, you know, places where culture has been maintained, places where you can find the old elements of old China still existing. I mean, you can go into Beijing and you can still go to the Forbidden City. You can see the original old there. But there's structures like that all over China. You can also find new. In fact, I'm here in Hangzhou, and you'll see cities built up with glass skyscrapers and amazing architectural elements. I mean, just like something that you might see out of Blade Runner or some of the most modern metropoli? I think that's the word, right? Some of the most modern metropolises in the world. In Ningbo, the city where I live, which is towards the ocean that away, you can find a place called Tianyige. Tianyige is the oldest library in China. It's over 1,000 years old. You can find these sorts of relics to Chinese history everywhere. And they have an amazing opportunity to teach us about what happened in the olden days. You go to Tianyiga and there are scrolls on every sort of topic, talking and giving opinions that were had in thousands of years prior. One of the things that is really popular in China these days is that middle category, the new old. New old is the blending of new technologies to build up things based on old culture. I think every city, or a lot of cities in China, major cities, have sections of the city that were rebuilt by inspired old practices, old building practices. You'll see new temples rebuilt with old inspiration, old technology. And you'll see the basis of old China built with the technology of new China. And you'll see that everywhere. So to say that the slate was wiped clean with regards to the history of China, I think is wrong. I think you can find a lot of historical elements that were built under this new old or old new representation. And you got to kind of give China credit for doing that. It's not like their entire history was just erased and that's it. They clung to it. It existed in pockets, and those pockets start to spread out and they build some new representations of the old culture. I think the statement that China has nothing related to the old ancient ways would be a bit naive. Granted, there was a bit of a step backward, but just because you took a step backward doesn't mean that you can't take progressive steps forward. I think every country has its ups and its downs. Some are more extreme than others. China had some extreme downs and extreme ups. But to discount China and say that historical China is gone because they had this revolution or they had this moment in time would be naive. I cycled through villages all over China, and in many places I cycled into like old historic districts that might have had one building that was original old, and then everything around it was new old. Hello.
Hello.
And these structures that were new old were built in cooperation and to carry on the theme of the old and to give credence to the old and respect to the old. You can go to places all over China and find historical temples, libraries full of books that might have once been thought burned, but salvaged. It's very, very hard to erase history. And it's very, very hard to erase a history that goes back 5,000 years. No matter how hard you try, it's always built into a culture, their history. And although it might have faded, it was never gone. And so the China I live in today is a real interesting mix of new and old new. And I think it takes a bit more nuance to appreciate it and respect it. I find the ability for them to remake these new villages in the old model admirable. I'd appreciate all of you to come to China, experience it for yourself. I think the misconceptions in China are so vast that China has completely erased its history, that China is this authoritarian overlord, that they are this evil entity bent on world domination. I think that they're just like any other country. They're trying to grow, they're trying to be better every day. Some things might seem foreign to you, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. Certainly there's definitely some things I'd like to talk about here in China, and I will through this podcast. But everything that I say is built on my own experiences as I travel through this country, and as I have traveled through this country for over 10 years. It's not like I have visited here for a month, just like this topic, for example, I have been in so many villages, so many little pockets of China that most people have never visited, that harken back to a period thousands of years past. And I think to myself, most certainly China has not been able to erase all of their past. So anyways, I'm interested in talking more about topics like this. If you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please leave it in the comment section. If you'd like to contribute to my stories or contribute to my channel in any way, I have a coffee. You can buy me a coffee, or you can send me a WeChat. I leave my link below. Thank you and appreciate that. For all of you that do send me a WeChat, I don't know how I can thank you for that. I tried, but I can't figure out how to do that. So thank you in advance for that if you do. If you want to listen to a podcast I record fairly regularly, you can join my Patreon, and there's links for that in the description. And yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. I don't claim to be 100% right on everything I say, so you can call me out if you think that's necessary, and do that in the comment sections. And yeah, thanks for following. JaYoe, and have a good day.